Hey, Kris.
Hey, John.
How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Good to be back for a show.
Yeah. Had to take a little break with a unexpected trip for you.
Yes.
How'd that go?
Overall, it went good. Didn't get the projects done that I had intended due to
Projects that you didn't intend?
well, no stuff not arriving.
Oh, man.
So you do the about face, but still got some good projects done. I can now tell you every single breaker in every building in Central Texas that would turn my equipment off and on.
Really need to know that.
Yes, very important.
Really need to. It's not. I would say like it's important for you to know that, but it's also like you may want to just put like a little note on
Yes.
each of those. Like, don't touch this without calling Kris Kincaid.
Yes, that will be Tad's project. I'm sending him a copy so he can go back around
Nice.
and get some proper labeling. So we got that knocked out. And then we did some badly needed cleanup in the server room
Mm-hmm.
and then knocked out the DNS box.
Nice.
So still great projects, just not the endpoint cleanup I intended.
Well, I mean,
I'll take it though.
you'll take it though. And in the middle of that, you had to do some socializing.
Yes, there is a lot of socializing, yes. Especially getting up front and talking to everybody, which,
That's like your favorite thing, man.
oh, let me tell you, it gives me so much energy.
You are all the way on the extrovert scale,
You better believe it.
as so many IT professionals are out there.
Exactly.
We're really just here to talk, folks.
Yes. Talk shop.
Talk shop. Well, I mean, we can talk here to each other.
True.
It's just would rather there not be anybody else in the room. It's fine. What was that shirt that was popular there for a little bit? The
Extroverts of the world unite in your own places.
introverts of the world
Or
unite
introverts, yes. sorry.
separately in your own
Introverts.
space.
Yes.
All right, you brought the beer. You get to
I
tell us
did.
what we're drinking.
Okay, so we've got 3 different choices. Let me grab it. All right. So we do have a bottle option, as always.
Real ale.
Real L.
Okay.
Remember, last time it was the Commissar.
Yeah.
So this
They
is
they should not be judged on that one.
correct.
Because I've had some real ale that was really good. They're from like Fort Worth, right?
yes.
or something
so
like that.
I have hopes for this.
Okay.
Because this says Trappist inspired.
Okay.
Once I saw that, they got my attention.
Okay. Yeah.
So
we're in. We're talking
They
now.
need to understand the bar is set.
It is Trappist inspired, though. These
Yes.
people are not supporting
No.
their ministry.
No, they're
with
not. They're not.
Their beer.
So, but it's a quadruple.
Mm,
So called the Black Quad.
okay. That's the only one in a bottle. And then these other 2 are in cans. Careful.
Made it. All right. So yeah, these other 2 are from local ETX Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
The Dunkel.
Awesome.
I've had the Dunkel.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Fail safe.
And then their Mexican Lager.
Okay, I haven't had that yet.
I haven't yet. I had a Mexican Lager in Athens, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So I have hopes
Okay.
that this is going to be good because that one in Athens was really good.
Okay. Well, we gotta try the Trappist. I'm gonna.
And there is a bonus.
Black Quad. Oh man, look at that monk on the front.
Yeah. Looks good.
What's the bonus?
The bonus is we
Oh,
have
yes.
pretzels. We've been missing that the whole time. Oh, yes. That's the good stuff.
Just gonna set some of these in front of my computer here. This is quite a smorgasbord. Thank you, Kris.
All right.
Okay. Very nice. Oh, that smells good.
It does.
Midland. Why does it say Midland?
Midland? I didn't think they were Midland.
I didn't think so either, but look at the cap. Does yours say Midland or does it say something else underneath the cap?
Oh, under the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Mine says Bastrop.
Maybe
So-
they're just all towns in
From
Texas.
different places. Oh, yeah. All right. So can't forget the blurb.
Mm-hmm.
Working in the hill country from a foundation of time-honored brewing tradition, Real Ale believes minimal processing produces maximum flavor.
There's a government warning on this, Kris.
Well, that's what makes it more fun.
Yeah. This says, a Trappist-inspired ale. Join us in paying tribute to the monastic brewing tradition, subtly sweet with a delicious dark complexity.
He hadn't had the beer yet, folks.
The pretzels are drying out my mouth. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
That is very nice. Hold on. Is that like apple? Do you taste apple?
There's something fruity there.
I don't know what that is.
Not in a bad way.
No, it's not, and it's not overpowering.
No.
That's very nice. Because it's dark. You can tell that it's dark, but it's like,
oh yeah,
I wouldn't mind drinking that on them.
When I saw your face over there, I was preparing myself for the last minute bitter hit.
Oh yeah, that last minute bitter hit is scary to us now. We are definitely bracing for it every time, but no bitter hit on this one. I feel like.
Apologize if you hear all the crunchy through the mic.
I mean, I'd be sorry, but it just tastes too good to be sorry. Okay. So we have a show that I'm a little bit nervous about. So we have a fallback show in case
this one goes off the rails.
This one goes off the rails, or we just realize we have no idea. I'm going to admit we've been trying to put this show together for a while, and as I've been trying to do the research, I'm realizing just how little I know about radio frequencies. Sound waves have always been curious to me because I feel like sound waves function differently than expected in a lot of different circumstances. You have really high frequency.
Excuse me there.
Excuse me. High frequency, high amplitude, low frequency, low amplitude.
Yep.
All these different like words that describe waves and all of that. And when you're talking about sound, I think it's normal to picture almost like ripples in a pond or something like that. Sound being created and then kind of going out in a bunch of different directions from that. But sound also operates, I don't know how to say that, like in a way that like a water wave wouldn't. The fact that you can hear sounds through objects and in spite of the blocking of objects. Now that there's some of that has to do with the size of the wave, and
is it a wave or is it a particle?
I don't know, man. They're bouncing into each other and also washing across. Anyway, it's a bunch. But as much as little time as I feel like I've even been able to spend with sound waves, I've spent even less time with radio waves. And so there's some of this that I'm just kind of figuring out for myself. The reason this has come to mind is Sennheiser kind of hit the audio world, or at least the audio engineer world, with a big old bombshell that I've got labeled here on our notes as the Sennheiser Bombshell Spectera. Now, Spectera, from the outside of it, looks like a 1U audio rack.
Yep.
Like a audio processor, could be a transmitter, could be a receiver, could just be a one of those 1U rack mixers now that they have. Turns out It's a little bit of all three, and maybe a little bit more. The big thing that it is bringing to the table that there's a few here, so we're going to get to it. But the big thing that like just kind of like broke everybody the first time it came out or it was released is what it is that this is a bi-directional box. So this isn't just a transmitter and this isn't just a receiver. It's 32 in and 32 out.
Yep.
Wireless. Now, there's going to be a lot of things inside of this. It's like, well, of course it's that because it has to be that in order to be this thing. But the idea that you could have a single box do all of your, not just wireless microphones, but all of your wireless in-ear monitors as well.
Correct.
Is like,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Like we haven't seen one of these in action. I haven't seen one of these in action. I haven't gotten to play with one of these. There's a few things that we'll talk about at the end of this little section that I think are things that we need to be watching for. But Sennheiser has come out with a big old like innovation here, and I mean we just got to give them props.
Absolutely.
For it. So the big like obvious thing is inside of this. You've got a 1U rackable box, right? Doesn't take up much space. You're not talking about, there for a while. It was very common to have two, like you would have a wireless transmitter. We'll just talk about transmitters first. A wireless transmitter, and it's about half a U, like it's a full U, but it's like half a rack space. And then you would attach that to another one. And so in each 1U of rack space, you could have two transmitters, and then you just stack them on top of each other. Now, the other part of that that's necessary then is for every about 4 of those that you put together, you need to put a antenna. That's not a combiner. That's a... oh, my gosh. What's the other name for that? So they have the combiners for the antennas for.
Yes,
I thought that was receivers. Is it a combiner for the antenna for receivers too, or for transmitters too? I'm sorry. This is I've been doing so much research here over the last few hours that I'm my brain's a little bit muddled. But you also have the box that is then bringing all the transmitter antennas together into one.
Correct.
And then you can just use 2 actually.
And I would still consider that a combiner.
Yeah, like that's been really handy. But it does require that you have 3 U's of space, and that still only gets you 4 transmitters.
Correct.
Okay, so then I think Shure's the first one that I saw do it. I actually haven't researched because we use the Shure one here at the church. There's a Shure 1U receiver. There's a Shure 1U receiver that has 4 different receivers on it. And so you could get multiples of those and then combine them, the antennas for them, and then you've got 2 antennas servicing, I think it's like 16. So that by itself was like, wow, this is amazing.
Absolutely.
You still would need, I think it's to daisy chain, because you would daisy chain 4 of them together. That's 16. You still would need 5 U's of space.
Correct.
So this is not only talking about being able to do all of that in one, but it's taking all of that and putting into 1U, and then taking the other however many U's of space that you would use for your in-ear monitors and putting that all into the 1U.
Correct.
And then there is the ability, I'll talk about this in a second, there is the ability to run it over 4 antennas just to have redundancy when you're talking about this wide band stuff. I feel like you want as much redundancy in a bunch of these areas as you can have. But even with 4 antennas externally on the outside of this thing, you're talking about 1 U of space.
Correct. And to your point on the monitor, depending on if you're mixing it for everybody or if you're giving them their ability to mix,
Yeah.
then you would introduce another U to hit those personal mixers on the stage.
Yeah. Unless you do, which is now really popular as well, mixing from, a smart device over actually using your board's Wi-Fi controllability in order to mix that way. In which case, you don't even need that extra U. You just
True.
It gets a little bit bonkers.
You just need some extra RF in there in the form of Wi-Fi.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing is like, I think my initial inside of this and what made us want to start doing a lot of research before we even really talked about it much on the show is like there's some fears involved with this, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But not only do you have the 1 U that's doing all of that, you also have 1 body pack on each, and I'm going to call them a performer because that's the best way to describe what this is. So a person can have 1 body pack that has both the output, which is either their microphone on their face or the input into their instrument or whatever that looks like. Now this isn't really going to work, or we haven't seen any offering from Sennheiser in any of this that would indicate that they would be able to do like a handheld with this setup. And that makes sense. Like, you don't really want your in-ear headphones plugged into a microphone that you're holding in your hand. That would look a little strange. But I don't know if they're gonna figure out something that works for that situation, or for somebody who maybe is playing an instrument and doing something else. But let's not get greedy here. We're talking about a very important distinction. And one of the things that didn't even, and I feel like this would be a little bit overkill, given that there are better options and you're not worried about how you look in this situation. But this could also easily be used in a like AV team situation where you have a boom mic on you and you have a boom mic on your face and you have a set of nice in-ears in your ear, and as a technician at a live event, you are able to not only talk to your whole team, but you're also able to listen to the whole team inside of that. So there's and it'd be pretty low key in terms of what it looks like you're carrying. Anyway, but the single body pack also has both of those things included in it. So the body packs are transmitters and receivers. Now, you may automatically be starting to think about battery life, but I don't want you to go there quite yet because we've got to get to some of the other heavy hitters inside of this. So that's a bidirectional part. That's just that part. It boasts that it has 11 audio link modes, which you'll see in the show notes. I'm like, it drives me crazy when new technology tries to like find the way to like say something simple, but like when they release it with these bullet points of like talking points, it's like, I have no idea what an audio link module or audio link mode is. What best I can tell, and I think this is correct, so don't whatever. They call these audio link modes. They say that they control. It is the control of audio quality, latency, channel count, and operating range. The best I can guess or understand inside of it is that there's so much flexibility inside of this design. There's also, because of the flexibility, there are restraints on different things. So if you want, a higher channel count, you may have to decrease some other options. If you want higher quality, like audio quality, you may have to come down on channel count or operating range or something like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Those, in order to make the system work the best for what you actually need, there are a lot of like levers to push and pull. And so they've got basically 11 modes, which are just presets for that larger configuration of the box,
Okay.
to kind of help you out. Now, I don't know if that's something that you start with and then you can tweak, or if the 11 modes are very like, this is all that it is. Now, one of those would be very Apple and the other one would be very Windows. So
Correct.
I'm going to let you guess which one Kris hopes that it is.
Okay, I won't say it out loud.
Really?
If you want him to guess, I won't say it out loud.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, so that's that. That's the 11 audio link modes. I feel like that's a pretty good understanding, and also gives us a better understanding of the box itself. In that, with all of this capability, there's gonna be some like, you're gonna like you need to be aware of this when you're doing this.
Yeah, there's going to be trade-offs. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't just have all the things be exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, if you want, to your point, if you want something to sound better, you've got to give something up.
Yeah, can't have the what's the trifecta there? The quality, speed, and affordability.
Mm-hmm.
Always in
There's always a trade-off.
AV and IT. There's always a trade-off between those three things.
Unless you have bottomless pockets.
Well, that's the affordability. Like, it doesn't mean that you can't afford it. It just means that if you want quality and you want it fast, you're going to pay for it.
Correct.
Not all three of those sliders can be down at the same time.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so real quick, because I didn't actually put this in the notes, but I should have. Before we move on past this, I do want to, like, we've talked a little bit about, like, we talked about the I think they call it the base station or something like that.
Yes.
The base station, the body pack, and the antenna. We've talked about all of those things. Of course, those are parts of this system that they had to come out with. They made a broadband antenna, because that's not what we've had before, and we'll talk about that as well in a second. They had the stationary device, which is the rack-mounted, like, 1U piece of gear. Looks similar to what we've seen before, but is not in really any way. And then the combined body pack. All of those three at least have some semblance of what we've seen both in transmitters and receivers in the past. But they also, in order to do all of this, and again, I'm talking about this right after I talk about the audio link modes on purpose, because the other part that they had to do was create a system or a way to control it. And if you know 1U devices, you know on-device control of that 1U device is like the worst thing in the world. So they made a software called LinkDesk. LinkDesk is a software, runs on both Mac and PC. Hooray! It is how you are controlling not only the modes, but making sure that your frequencies are picked well, that you have your wireless. It's funny, like that you have your wireless connection to your wireless connectors,
Mm-hmm.
and then just all the other like levers that you can push and pull on this thing. Oh, I think I said Link Deck. I think it's Link Desk.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
They do have one funny thing on the page.
Okay.
In particular, because we're talking about software.
Yeah.
If you scroll down past features in the little video,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to make a movie reference here because of what their wording says,
And
there
the
is a
little
section
video
called, right under the video, there's a section in there called, What's in the Box? Why would there be a box for software? You're going to download it. It's the installer for Windows and the installer for Mac.
That's funny.
There's no box.
There's no box. I mean, you can call your computer a box.
I guess so.
Anyway, what's in the box?
Yeah. What's in the box?
Good job.
Yep.
I like it. So the Link Desk software, pretty cool. It says that you get an intuitive workflow. I mean, we'll be the judge of that. I anytime somebody says that, I'm like, okay, for your engineer,
correct. We'll see.
That doesn't make sense to anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But so intuitive workflow. You have remote control, which I mean, it's just monitoring capabilities. So when they say that, I don't know if they mean levels on the, like being able to see the levels on your computer for each one, or if they're talking about actually being able to hear. Now, I would imagine that if they're talking about actually being able to hear what the artist can, like if you can choose if you can plug it into your headphones, because you wouldn't want to do this over your computer speakers, that's not going to help you at all. But if you can plug into your headphones on your computer, if you can, run through your MUDAC or whatever, converter you have to be able to have the highest quality option of this, if you can then listen to what your artist is listening to, or listen to the raw signal from each input, I feel like that's a big step. There's no way that they're doing that without latency.
I would agree.
I mean, it may not be huge, but they're talking about the latency being so low in this being 0.7. I don't think you're getting 0.7 if you're listening to the audio through a computer that's remotely connected to the 1U box.
Correct.
But you also have visibility on the IEM volume, so you can see how loud each person has. You see the latency that they're dealing with. You see the audio level and settings. RF health, which is, we'll get to that in a minute. Battery status and more. Okay. There's some pretty cool stuff that they're doing here, and they've also got some automation inside of it that we'll see. Like everybody's making these pre-mix like EQ for dummies setups and stuff like that, and there's some of that I'm like, okay, I can understand how a computer, like I very much understand how a computer can tell you whether or not the gain is too high. Like that Fair. Seems like you just say, if the level hits here, the gain is too high. I want you to adjust it, and I want you to do it in a very dynamic way. So I don't have any problem trusting a computer to do that, but trusting EQ is a different thing. And it seems like it would just be probably setting presets on EQs more than anything else.
Sure, I could see where they could have a preset for somebody that has a really deep, bassy voice that could come across muddy. Yeah. To put the high pass filter on that. Or somebody who's got some real sibilance, right? Sibilance. I always get that one wrong.
Yeah.
That it could know, hey, I need to make an adjustment for that. Beyond that, you're going to get into things where the presets may not be what you want.
Okay, so in a lot of other transmitters, and I think receivers, in a lot of other receivers, and I think transmitters, especially the high-end ones, we've had before the ability to do spectrum analysis, obviously for a while. You can do, like, and this is simple in most situations, like you just see the scan button on your device, and it would do a scan and see if anything's super loud, and by loud I mean high amplitude on any given range of in the spectrum. But this also has that. But you got to remember, like, one of the huge pluses to this is that both your transmitters and your receiver, both your transmitters and your receivers are being controlled in both directions by the same device. So not only are you not having to worry about buying the same, wireless band for all of your receivers or transmitters, but you're also not having to worry about what that then affects in terms of your inner monitor receivers and transmitters. And it's like, this is huge, to be controlled by the same thing, to not have to have some sort of go between them, or to have to run a big fancy. They're never big, but the really fancy scanners that you can buy for wireless analysis, that's even better than the ones that are equipped in the devices. Like, I mean, it's a big deal to not have to do that. Part of what it is, they had to come up again with another acronym for their new technology that they're calling WMAS. Yep.
Insert joke here.
Insert joke here. But it seems to be wireless multi-channel audio, and then all I've ever seen next to that is technology. So we've got technology on our notes here. But anyway, more jokes. I guess they didn't want WMAT.
I guess.
I don't know. But
they were trying to bring in the S, at least for Sennheiser.
Sennheiser. Audio.
Technology.
Signal. Audio something.
Yeah.
And so WMAS.
Be careful.
There it is. Is a single wideband RF carrier. So this is where you start like breaking your brain a little bit if you're not already an RF guy.
Correct.
So do you want to talk a little bit about wideband and narrowband? Do you know?
Not in this regard, I don't.
Okay, so what do you mean not in this regard?
For wireless wireless microphone.
Yeah.
No, I know what wideband is, obviously, for internet.
Okay, so talk to me about that, because it's probably the same thing.
Well, wideband is now actually kind of technically dictated by the FCC. They determine the minimum rate that is qualified as wideband. Used to be...
this is the same as broadband?
Yes. So it used to be... if you go back far enough, it was not much more than a dial-up modem was considered wideband. I feel like in the most recent change that they made, it's in the 250 to 300 megabit is now what they're qualifying as a wideband broadband. So a lot of us are no longer qualify for that. Wideband, if I had to take a stab at this, just has to do, maybe it's similar to the concept of Wi-Fi, where they're taking channels that are next to each other and literally treating them as one larger channel for more bandwidth, more throughput. That would be my guess at what they're doing here without having more to read.
Okay, so from what I can understand, you have the UHF, which is the ultra high frequency.
Correct.
You have...
And in the Weird Al movie. I had to throw the reference in. I couldn't miss it.
Sorry, my brain was trying to process something else, and then that hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And then, so UHF and VHF, I think are the ones
very, very high and ultra high.
Yeah, very high and ultra high are lower frequency signals or lower bands than this next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best, or not the best, the like phrase that keeps coming, or not phrase, the descriptor that keeps being used for this next level is called 1G4.
Makes perfect sense.
Like when you said 1GH, like 1 gigahertz,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that would make sense. Maybe that's just a typo. No, 1G4 is what they're calling it. This feels a lot like when Apple decided that like 3 and 3G and whatever was not going to refer to the band that it was on, but instead was going to refer to the phone.
Correct.
I'm like, no, you can't. What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
So then you get a year where you got to jump to 10, even though you're actually at 8.
Yep.
Okay, all kinds of stuff going on there in my brain. But so this 1G4 is like, okay, so this device can use UHF or, and I think probably and from some of the things that I'm reading, UHF and or 1G4. UHF is in the 470 to 608 megahertz range, or the 630 to 698 megahertz range. Is that right?
I believe so, yes.
And again, this is all classified by, not classified, but like dictated by the FCC. 1G4 is like 1350 to 1400 or 1435 to 1525.
Yep. And so to me, again, that's the 1 gigahertz range.
Yeah.
Even though they're saying 1G4.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not really sure exactly. This feels bleeding edge to me in so many ways. Like, I don't know how much of this is what they're calling it, and it's not actually going to be called that. Like,
sure.
we don't have.
They needed another marketing term to go along with this technology.
Yeah. What's the other one that didn't make it? The Blu-ray beat out.
HD DVD.
HD DVDs. Which HD DVDs made so much more sense in terms of what it was being called. Anyway.
Yeah, but Blu-ray was the superior product.
Yeah, and had the name is what mattered. So,
just like Betamax was better than VHS.
There you go. But that didn't matter.
Nope.
Okay, so you've got this range, or these two ranges that this product can use. Now this is where it gets a little bit hairy because I don't fully understand, and we're going to attach the to these show notes. We are going to attach the spec sheets that were on the bottom of that. So it seems like you've got these up to 64 channels. It's 32 in, 32 out, but 64 channels, and that matters because you've got 64 different channels.
Correct.
You can't send on the same channel that you're receiving in this, like, it's different information.
Yes.
So you're not sending 40 channels of audio. You're sending one channel of audio. You're receiving from your body pack. You're receiving probably somewhere in the range of 40 channels all mixed together, and maybe then that's 80 channels because it's over two different. Anyway, it's 2 channels, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And allows for up to 2 independent wideband RF channels in UHF or 1G4. It keeps saying 6 to 8 megahertz next to 1G4. I don't know what to do with that. Like,
is that the width of the channel?
I
Because
mean,
that's what it would be. Again, thinking in terms of Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
You've got a 20 megahertz channel, a 40 megahertz, an 80 megahertz, a 160.
No, that's got to be exactly what it
320.
says, because it talks about how you get. Again, this is part of that like configurability mess. Hold on, let me find my notes real quick. You get. This is down here a little bit. Where did I put that? Yeah, you get 40 channel diversity. Like you get 40 options at 8 megahertz. You get 30 options at 6 megahertz.
Really?
Doesn't that seem like it would be reversed?
I would have expected the opposite. Yeah, more megahertz means more bandwidth in theory.
Yeah. So I don't know if that means. Because the 8 megahertz is bigger.
Yes. Yeah. Think of it.
Obviously.
Think of it in terms of lanes.
Yeah.
You could argue that 8 megahertz is 8 lanes and 6 megahertz is 6 lanes.
So it would make sense, or at least if we're comparing it like we are to Wi-Fi, that if you have more lanes, then you have less options. So I don't know what's going on with the 40X. Maybe I just read that wrong. I don't think so, though. That's not like me at all. Sorry. That was a joke. Okay, vastly more resistant to dropouts from RF fading than traditional narrowband systems via innovative Sennheiser WMAS technology, equal to 40 times diversity. That's at the 8 megahertz, and 30 times diversity at 6 megahertz. So I wrote it down right.
Okay.
But I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about with that.
Now I need more detail.
Okay. Again, like we're just like this is right at the beginning of this. It feels like I don't. It's not even released, is it? Like, hold on, let me see if I can buy it. You can pre-order it.
There you go.
Somebody may have one, but we don't have one.
Send us something, Sennheiser, even if it's just more material.
More material would be great. I don't really know that I want to mess with one of these because I'm afraid I would break it. And we'll talk about that in a second. I do want to put that information on there. Dadgummit. Okay. So there's a lot there. There's no cross frequency worry though. And there's no antenna like placement guessing involved because you're not trying to put these systems next to each other. It's one system. And the device itself is doing the cross frequency worrying for you. It's not going to let you put something on a frequency that's, being interfered with its own stuff.
Maybe I'm an idiot, but it still feels like antenna placement is still important.
Antenna placement is still important, but it's not important. It's not as important like that you keep the antennas away from another set of antennas.
A nearby
channel
what I mean? Neighbor that could cause an issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're supposed to keep even the ones that are related. Like if you've got a Wi-Fi, if you've got a wireless system, and you've got 2 external antennas, you don't want to put them right next to each other. Not only are you beating yourself over the head because they're getting the exact same look at the body pack or whatever it is, or handheld, or that's kind of a no-brainer. There is the like, okay, it is actually like the box is having to switch between these antennas. And if they're too similar to each other, I mean, how often is it switching? You're going to increase your probability of some sort of drop inside of that, or at least a signal degradation, or it not knowing which. Anyway, all of that. So yes, but as long as you've got some distance to play with, if they're all coming from the same thing, like there's very little worry in terms of antenna placement in regards to that. And they're all, like I said, controlled by that same box that you can then look at in one window. We've talked about the one window, like magical feeling with Unify so many times before, like that you've got that one window to look at all of these things together. Link Desk being the accompanying software component of the config. It's got some really important redundancies inside of this. There's redundancy on power, which is really important, and we'll talk more about power here in a second. It's got signal redundancy. You not only have Dante, you've got Matty. It's interesting to me. I'm not sure many people are going to actually run those side by side, but maybe if you're using this type of system, that's exactly what you're doing. I don't know. And then you've got 4 antenna. You're not probably going to be utilizing all 4 antenna at the same, like the system is not going to be doing that. But the fact that you can plug 4 antenna into this one U box just has got to be a peace of mind thing. Like I said, it's boasting 0.7 milliseconds latency. Here are the things we got to look for inside of this whenever it comes out. Really, in my thought process, we've already gone 45 minutes. This wideband. Mm-hmm. In order to do wideband, it's got to use more power. There's a couple of reasons for this, but the biggest reason, in my mind, has to do with noise, which is the audio guy's biggest competitor naturally. The idea that we're using any equipment that is powered or whatever means that there's always going to be a noise floor that we're battling. We want, when you're listening to this podcast, we want you to be able to hear our voices and not hear.
And you don't want to hear the room.
Or whatever the thing is.
Yep, no AC.
You just don't want that. You don't want to hear the wind across the thing, but you don't like the electronic noise. This is why good bass players are hard to find, man. They are terrible at finding their own noise. But that noise floor, because you have a wider band, that noise floor is closer to the level. It is harder to closer to the level. That's not a good way to put that, because that has to do with amplitude. The noise floor is harder to pull out of the signal using a filter.
True.
And it's you're going across more frequencies, so it's harder to just dismiss the noise that's not in that frequency. Yeah. So there's a few things at play here, but what it means is you have to power that signal. You have to put more power into that signal to push it higher to then be able to compensate for the noise floor, and that signal to noise ratio, whenever it reaches, is going to be distinguishable, like that we can see the signal over the signal amplitude over the noise amplitude.
Yes.
And again, the distance that's traveling also plays a part in it. Now, wideband is supposed to go further than narrowband. Okay. I really wasn't expecting that either. But in researching it, that's a thing.
Interesting, because I would have thought
wideband would be
not as far.
I'm thinking
in terms of ham radio type, because you hear about shortwave going all the way around the world.
Right.
And that just has to do with the fact that as the frequency goes down, it requires less power to push it.
Yeah.
And so I would have thought the same thing here. UHF would require less power to go a given distance, whereas 1 gigahertz or 1G4 requires more power to push the same distance.
Yeah. That's what I would have thought too. In fact, if you look at the difference between UHF and VHF, a lot of time they're going to reference the fact that if you are using something outside with a clear line of sight, then VHF is a better choice than UHF because it will travel farther. But what they're saying inside of this is that because wideband is that bigger wave or whatever, it will actually go through more in order to hit its target. Now, if you've ever driven up next to somebody listening to rap music in their car, you know that where you may be able to hear a high-pitched noise from further away, if there is an obstacle between you and that thing, it is actually more likely for you to hear a rumble than for you to hear the high pitch.
That's true.
This guy is obviously listening to music, but all it sounds like from the outside is exactly.
Yeah.
So like there's this like it goes further because there are always going to be obstacles in the way. I guess that's what they're saying. I don't really know. Okay. But again, this is one of those things. Now, the wideband is really important because the wideband is necessary to have the amount of data that this thing is trying to send. That's happening inside of this really ridiculous piece of equipment that we're talking about here.
Yes.
We're going to include a lot of different things on here, but the biggest catch inside of this by far is the price for most of us. So that single base station costs $10,000. Now,
mic drop.
You may be saying to yourself, John, it does not cost $10,000.
I would have been saying self.
Self. You may be saying to yourself,
some really bad things.
Crap. That's the tame version. Yeah. It only costs $9,999.
So why'd you round it up?
Because taxes. I'm just saying I don't see how. If
tax on $9,999 was 1 penny, I would pay that tax.
Yeah, I know, for sure. So what I'm saying is at least 10,000.
True.
Maybe if you get a discount, it'll be 10,000. It's not going to be $9,999 though. Holy cow! It is $1,600 for one antenna. You're going to need at least 2 of those, and then the body packs. Hold on, I had this a second ago. Oh, I don't want the body pack. So this body pack. No, that's right. It's showing the body pack with a set of headphones and a microphone. That's got to have some stuff on it that says not included. What's in the box?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What's in the box?
Yeah. No, you had it right the first time.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to figure out if it actually does have it. I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so, no.
No. Okay, so the body pack, which is pictured with a set of headphones, which look like, yeah, those are Sennheiser. I was like, are those sure? Because that would be hilarious. It's got like a over-ear microphone and set of Sennheiser earbuds. But that's listed at $1,999 $1,999 and 0 cents. So $2,000 for that. That's just one of those.
Does that at least include the battery?
Probably not. I guarantee that they will send you 2 AA batteries with it.
Really?
Oh yeah, they're going to send you 2 AA batteries with it. So you get one shot at this.
That's dirty.
Yeah, no, if you want the rechargeable batteries and the charging station and everything like that, brother, they are going to charge you for that.
That's true. Although on their page they do show that.
Yeah.
It's a little portable 2U, the base station on the top, the wireless charging packs on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Looks really, really nice.
I'm telling you, like this is slick.
It is.
And if you really think about how many wireless transmitters and receivers, you have to buy, like if you look at, even if you just like you just budget, you know, $700 per body pack or transmitter, like that's still $1,400, and you're talking about $2,000 for this combined one. It's not out of the range. And if this is their highest end product, if you're talking about the highest end body packs and receivers and transmitters, you're well over $1,000 for each of those.
Well, sure. I mean, anybody who's investing in this knows they're just dropping a ton of cash.
Yeah, because you're getting, again, with that base station, you're getting 32 in and 32 out. That's ridiculous. There's stages that don't, like, we don't, you know, that don't have that many inputs in them, and
correct.
Holy cow.
We have plenty of stages that don't have that.
Yeah. So it really is quite a thing for $10,000 for one part of it. Again, you're going to spend way more than that. But I really do think like that is like the sticker shock of that goes away when you realize how much you're taking out of your system in order to put this thing in. I'm not saying it's cheap, because it's not cheap. No. The higher power consumption I wanted to talk a little bit about, because it is going to take a toll on your, because we talked about more noise signal, which is the higher power consumption as well.
Yep.
But the higher power consumption is going to take a toll on your body packs, because those are run by little bitty batteries. And where you may be used to getting a few sessions or whatever out of a battery, I doubt you're going to get that. Now they have made like these rechargeable batteries and these packs that they put in. They have made considerable gains in that realm. They're still not as, I don't think they're as strong as the, you know, fresh out of the pack AA's or something like that. But you just like it, you make that money back easily with recharging them, and they tend to last long enough to make them useful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that side of it is great. And it also makes sense why the power redundancy is extra important on the almost said link desk. That's not what I meant. The base station, whatever they're calling it, side.
Yep.
And that's not because like a normal system wouldn't go down if you had a spike or a drop in power. But if you're just seeing like browning that's happening or something like that, that would be pretty horrendous for this
absolutely
machine. And it seems like there's some thought put into like, oh, we need to make sure that the power is right.
Yep.
So there's all kinds of stuff involved in this, and I think that they've really done their due diligence. This immediately made me think of something that I saw. I have 64 audio. Nice.
I had to interrupt.
What is that?
This is the Mexican Lager.
Okay, so we get to see what the Mexican Lager's like.
Well, I do.
You get to see what the Mexican... I get to see on your face what the Mexican Lager's like.
It could be. So real quick.
Yeah.
Mexican-style lager. This Mexican-style lager is a bright and refreshing Pilsner. And with flaked maize. The base ingredients impart a neutral, sweet note up front with a very dry flavor in the finish. This brew is easy drinking and very well balanced. You will surely find yourself asking for uno más.
Uh-huh.
I see what they did there.
Okay.
It's a lot lighter than I prefer. But let's see what
you're
we
looking
get.
down and
Yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh, did I just open up a can of water?
Yeah, this black quad is very dark.
Oh, yes, it is. And that's my cup of tea. So here we go. Cheers. To you, sir.
Oh, I'm giving you the face. Hold on. Contemplating. Oh, nope. The nose curled.
There's something there. What is that?
It's beer, Chris. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to
express yourself.
There's something in the flavor. I mean,
use your words.
That's the problem. I can't find the word. I'm a simpleton. I have few words.
I'm a simpleton.
And it's the end of the day. I've used up almost all my words.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, you think about it for a little while. I'm going to talk about this 64 audio thing.
Go ahead.
So I have 64 audio is a in-ear monitor manufacturer. Thank you. And 64 audio is who did I've had 2 different sets of their custom in-ear molds. Because I mean I think that they're fantastic. I don't think that I've ever experienced something quite as good as being able to hear audio with custom in-ear molds. It's a different level. If you're a professional audio person of any kind, I would suggest, if you're an audiophile and have money to burn, I would suggest it. The reason I suggest it for professionals is like, this is a tool that you use every single day. Like, you should have a nice one. I just think that that's the case. So when I was on their site one time, I looked at the accessories and I was trying to figure out if they had a longer cable for the monitors that I had. And they did, but as I was there, I also noticed that they had this thing, and I was like, what is that? And it sure is a TRRS cable that doesn't just have like the microphone built into the cable. They have that so you can use it with your phone to take your phone calls.
Okay.
But this one has a boom mic coming out of the attachment to the headphones. So on one of your ears, you would have a boom mic then coming down. And I was like, where the crap are you going to use that? Because, like, are you serious? That's what you need for a telephone call? But, Siri just thought I was talking to her. That's fun. What an idiot.
Stop it, Siri.
Yeah. Okay. It didn't come up that time. So I was like, that's a lot of mic for a phone call. So I was thinking, okay, maybe it's like a talkback situation, like we talked about with being able to do with this new Spectera system. Y'all are about to get a verdict, and it's not looking good for the old Mexican lager over there. But I was like, okay, so maybe they're thinking like a talkback situation, like if you have a, I don't know what all the connectors look like for talkback, like your I say talkback, like your comm systems for your team. But if you had one that could accept a TRRS situation, then this would be really cool, because you could have your like super high quality in-ear monitors, and you could have this super high quality microphone, it looks like, and it's just plugging in over a normal 1/8" headphone jack. But I was like, what if they saw this coming? What if this was the, they did this right before Spectera did this? Because if you ask me, like, there's the only problem with having the body pack attached to, or your body pack for your in-ear monitors attached to your body pack, or being the same body pack for your over-the-ear microphone, is that you don't want both of those things on your ear at the same time. No. But if you had one solution for that they were actually going through the same cable. Now, the reason that I don't think that that's actually what happened here is, number one, timing. Number two, the cable that they came out with does not have 2 different ends on it. It has a TRRS, not a TRS, and a another TS.
Is that this picture here that you've got in the notes?
That's what that is. That's the 64 audio, I don't know, head-worn microphone cable for their in-ear monitors.
Okay, but part of that is not this boom mic that you're referring to.
What do you mean?
Or, I mean, just looking at this, I mean, none of this.
It doesn't have the earphones attached.
Oh, wait.
So those connectors
that
go into the
long-
headphones.
That long swoop is
Yeah,
the boom mic that you're
That's the
talking
microphone.
about?
Yeah.
That looks like the talkback mic on a digital board.
Talkback mic on our digital.
Or
I mean,
maybe not talkback, but what do they call it?
I don't know. It looks like a Countryman to me.
That looks like a lot more than a Countryman.
I mean, it's thicker, but it's not that much thicker.
What do you? I can't think of the name of this stupid thing on the board where you could actually, you as the producer could speak in and everybody can hear you.
Yes. No, that is a talkback mic.
Okay, there you go. Yes.
It's that.
That looks like a very flexible.
I almost said lavalier. That's not what it is. It's like a pulpit mic.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a name for those, and I'm blanking. But it is like that. Okay. I give you that, but it is smaller than that. I promise.
Okay, so the scale just doesn't make it fair. Okay, fair.
Because what plugs into those double prongs on the ends are little headphones, about the size of a quarter in.
Okay, fair.
Circumference or whatever.
Fair.
Not yeah, sure. Why not circumference? But it sure had me going. That was funny. I had to give Shure a shout out because we use Shure more than we use Sennheiser. So I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
You know, you see something like Sony comes out with this amazing full frame camera and you're like, Canon, what's up? And they're like, just give us 10 years and we'll get there. So sure enough, has not done anything in this area. What they've been spending their time on is doubling down on the Accent line, which is their higher quality digital offering, and making sure that they are doing, you know.
Oh, that's 5 U's, man.
Exactly. Like, let's not call these the same thing. Not the same thing. They're definitely still in the where they've been, which is great. Like, I don't like, number one, even with this huge leap that Sennheiser is making, number one, we have not seen it succeed.
No.
On a consistent basis. So I don't want to pretend like, hey, let's all jump in on this. Like, we got to see what this actually is. But where Shure seems to be doing its stuff right now is the Accent line. They came out with a copycat of the Rode and DJI small microphone, like dual microphone with a single receiver system, which they call their Move mic.
Yeah.
And then a lot of their innovation, it seems like, with Shure right now seems to be very focused on small room, conference room setup. So small room meaning like classroom, and then conference room meaning like multiple people talking on a single call or something like that. Yeah. And I think that this is a fantastic use of Shure's innovation, because between the Microflex wireless and the Next system, which is what they're calling that other thing, they seem to be aware that so much, like, one of the things that I hate about our system that we have right here, just trying to record ourselves, is how many wires are going across the table. They're like, wireless microphones are important for people, even though we're not really necessarily worried about amplification. We're worried about transmission, and we're worried about recording. And so you want high quality stuff that's not necessarily worried about like the big venue. It's worried about concerned with the big venue. It's more concerned with the small venue. It's more concerned with the daily, what I would call daily use, but you know what I mean. It's not necessarily daily use, but like in a classroom, it sure is.
They're going for the bigger piece of the market.
Yes.
Where Sennheiser, their option is hitting very specific customers.
Yeah. And I would say Sennheiser also did come out with their, what do they call it? Profile wireless 2-channel microphone system. Everybody's got one of these now. I still like DJI's. Rhodes is great. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know if it's just the like form factor of the DJI. It's just, anyway, how Rhodes connects with their other offerings is by far it's an ecosystem thing.
Yep.
Anyway, but you can check out the Microflex and the Next systems. I think both of those are really good. I think it's good eyes towards how much focus right now is on content recording or content creation, or like the classroom. The classroom to me is everything. The fact that we still, like, we want to feel like every time I'm in a meeting that we've got to bring somebody in remotely to, I'm always so dissatisfied with that. There's no, you never have what you need for that setup. They never have what they need for that setup. You never have on your end what you need for that setup. And the fact that they're like, no, like conference rooms, we should be able to do this well. And so they really put some thought into that. And I think that those are great offerings. It's just not quite the innovation that we're seeing from Sennheiser in this ridiculous thing that they've just come out with, which has taken up this entire show.
That's okay.
I don't think that we completely lost our reputability in this, but please, like, when you find out things that we said that were not quite right or something, be merciful. There's a lot here that we're trying to figure out. And again, like I said, I'm not a I wish I was a ham radio operator. I wish I knew more about wireless or RF, transmissions and stuff like that.
Yep.
I feel like I'm going to have to learn it.
Yep. Well, I applaud you for picking a show that allowed me to essentially fill my belly full of pretzels and fill in the gaps with the beer.
Bro, I'm not done with I'm not even halfway done with my beer. I've been talking this entire time.
Exactly. I've just kind of sat back and chilled and just been the sidekick.
Well, thanks, sidekick. Appreciate you. You got anything to add?
It's an amazing product. I would really love to see Sennheiser put more information out.
Yeah.
About how they're truly handling the wireless aspect of this product.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that they will once the product goes officially on sale.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be certainly worth revisiting the wireless aspect of this to know what they're doing. And especially this oddity of 8 megahertz gives you more channels, if you will, if I'm understanding it correctly, than 6. Is like, that doesn't add up right.
I don't know if that has more to do with like the bigger, like 8 megahertz is definitely bigger. So maybe it's talking about like the span of the wave being 40 times instead of 30 times.
I don't know. Yeah, I really want them to release some really in-depth information on the wireless aspect of this product.
Yeah, but that 1G4 is an interesting.
They need a better name.
What doesn't need a better? I mean, the fact that like that's the advantage there to being the first into something is that you get to name it and it gets to be that name for a little while at least.
Everybody wants to be the Kleenex of their product.
You mean the facial tissue?
No, the Kleenex.
The Kleenex, you're right. This is a Xerox question.
Yes, exactly.
Appreciate you.
Enjoyed it, man.
I'm going to drink this beer now.
Oh, that's good. It's probably a little warm, though. There you go. Again, I apologized for the chewing nice noises in this episode.
It's been fun for me.
I guess we'll call this
chewing the whole time.
We'll call this the ASMR episode.
There you go.
There you go, folks. Yep. No boostergrams. That means Jason is slacking.
Yeah.
I know Michael's still listening.
Maybe we just bled him dry.
We may have, yeah. We may have depleted his wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Michael's still listening.
Hey, Michael.
Comes up in periodic conversations.
You can find us on Facebook now.
Yes, yeah, we have some social presence. Tell the people what we have.
We have Facebook. We have
we've got
X. We do not have Instagram.
No, they're being jerks.
I don't really understand what happened there, but every time I try to, it's like, no. So they're not taking new requests at this point.
Apparently not. We have to let it die, 60 days?
I don't know.
Potentially try again.
I was really aggravated by that. I was like, I'm on Facebook. You're the same company. Just let me do this.
Exactly. Do we have any official social media posts for people like me that don't do social media?
You mean like to us or from us?
All the above, I guess.
Yeah, no. We have said this is us. We have not.
I do know
anything
that
yet.
my wife.
She did follow us.
She followed us on Facebook, so
I'm
there's
surprised
a check.
that we just haven't blown up completely. But
Yeah.
it shows that we're on. We have a post that says that we're on X.
There you go, folks.
So, and then it says to also check us out on your favorite podcasting 2.0 app.
Oh, well played, sir. Well played.
I'm just saying,
Podcasting 2.0 is the way to go.
got to be consistent with our messaging.
Well, the Fountain listeners out there are our number one most used podcasting app for the show.
There you go.
So I do appreciate that.
Way to go, Fountain.
Yes. So yeah, no boost, so nothing to talk about there.
Yeah, we only have one follower, and it's your wife.
Hey, that's okay. Now you get to go home and tell your wife, say like,
Okay,
his wife is following the show on Facebook.
Michelle is, a real fan. Must be nice to have a wife who's a fan.
I wouldn't say it that way. Not unless you want to be on the couch.
Kris. Anyway.
All right. So excellent show. I enjoyed sitting here again. Like I said, just stuffing my face with pretzels and beer.
Not too bad.
Not a bad way to spend a Thursday night.
Nope. Thanks, brother.
Enjoyed it, man. Appreciate it. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things give thanks. So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa, and my two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little Eves. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.